Hi everybody, welcome to Time Over Target, and BillWhittle.com member Everest has a towering question. He writes, my parents are both staunch liberals, and one question my father always asks me is, if you're so conservative, why don't you move to the South where everybody's conservative? This question is often followed by, why are blue states so successful and red states so poor and backwards? Well, Everest, I'm glad you asked. There's a lot on this particular question, so let's break it down piece by piece. First of all, he says, if you're so conservative, why don't you move to the South where everybody's conservative? What he's really telling you is, why don't you move to the South where everybody's racist? Because he equates conservatism with racism. And the first thing I would do respond to that is, hey, listen, it's the cities where Black Americans are suffering the most. It's the cities with 100 years of Democrats governing in Baltimore and Washington and Newark and St. Louis. 100 years, 70 years, 60 years without a single Republican mayor. So first of all, the cities and the blue states are where the biggest poverty is. There's nothing like the crime and the poverty in the bluest blue areas, which usually tends to be the big cities. Just get out the electoral map by counties. Then I would proceed to show him what the country looks like if you take the electoral map and you overlay on it the crime map. The crime map. You'll see that the crime map and the Democrats are pretty much one-to-one. Again, because the Democrats win the big cities, the conservatives generally tend to win out in the country. So why are these southern states so poor? Well, first of all, let's back up again. The poorest state in the Union, in my opinion, is California. Now, he would point to that and say, California's got the biggest budget of any state in the Union. California is the 7th biggest economy in the world. California is deep blue and it's a living success story. It's not. It's not. It's the poorest state in the Union. And the reason it's the poorest state in the Union is because we owe so much money here in California. In addition to my federal tax, they take another 9% off, and it disappears in Sacramento, and it goes to places like retirement funds for the junior assistant deputy water manager for Fontana, California, who's going to retire on $250,000 a year, and he's going to live for another 40 years. So, just because the government is printing money, just because California is borrowing money, just because California owes tens of billions of dollars, if not more, I think it's pushing almost $1 trillion now, that doesn't show up when you look at income, but debt is debt. Income and debt, those are your two barometers. So California is the poorest state. Conversely, the best run state, essentially the richest state in terms of their debt to income ratio, is Texas, which happens to be the reddest of the red states. What's especially ironic here is that Texans are genuinely worried because Texas is starting to go a little bit pink because idiots from California in the deep blue states, liberals, are leaving California faster than you can count them, and they're going straight to Texas because Texas has a booming economy and has low, I don't think it has any personal income tax, so they're getting up from California and they're leaving California and they're going to Texas. According to your relatives, they're going from the richest state to the poorest state. Doesn't make sense. They're going to Texas because Texas works, and the problem is they start voting like Democrats out there until Texas doesn't work anymore.